Hello guys, how's it going once again? I remember myself distinctively being a person that basically always remembers life to make as much as I can out of it. In the sense of, since we have limited time, I may as well find out who I really am, or find out what the most important thing is in my life, or the things that I should be doing the most, or the people that I should meet and spend time the most, and so on. And the thing is that I did this thinking that this life eventually is going to end. And I thought this was a very productive, in a way of doing it or saying it, simply because I don't want to have any regrets, right? Who wants to have any regrets? And the thing is that I was a guy, in that sense, that I was taking life extremely seriously. Now, when I mean seriously, I mean that I did think of time to be precious, therefore I didn't want to waste on things I did not really care. For example, I don't want to work all of my life doing a thing I don't really care about, right? Who wants that? And if I found that I have amazing relationships to keep, I'd rather keep them. And at the same time, if I found out that I don't think I want to spend time with some people that are right now currently in my life, I don't want this to happen either. And so what I have in my mind basically is that I started taking life extremely seriously, even for a younger age, as much as I can remember. Basically, in due to my conditions, basically at 3 years old, I start basically taking therapy in a way because of my condition. I was a young guy who had autism in a very obvious way back then, at least, and I had to do some kind of therapy to get rid, in a way, of the very severe consequences of it. If basically I can avoid them in a way that doesn't prevent me from having a decent life later. I should be able to think for myself, for example. I should be able to make my own decisions eventually, and so on. And that made me take life extremely seriously from the get go, essentially. And basically go in an extremely self development phase. And of course, once you get into that, basically there's no return. And once you see you actually are making it, you're almost excited and never stop because of it. You see yourself grow and then you never stop. And so, in a way, I saw this extremely liberating and happy about myself. But at the same time, I thought that I was losing a lot of time. I think I could be basically relaxing or doing things that a young teenage boy could do. Of course, by the course of time, I did manage to have amazing friendships, but I also did not really regret taking life so uptight, and so seriously, because I needed to grow and did it as fast as I could. And of course, that road basically never stops once you get into it. And what I'm trying to say is that I'm extremely serious in general, or I could be, and think of way of things that are overly serious. I mean, I don't have to be that much serious, so serious in my everyday life, at least nowadays, because most of my hardships have been back in the past. And I also did not really understand human relationships back then so much, because being relaxed and pleasant around people, and essentially being able to make some jokes and humor yourself, especially, It's a great way of making great impressions on others, and it's ironically a soft way of having power, let's say. Not over other people, for yourself, that other people basically recognize upon you and they happen to have a lot more respect for you. Well, and so I took life extremely seriously from the beginning, from the get go. Not only because I had my condition and I needed to work on myself, I also thought in general about Stoic philosophy and in general philosophy that basically what does it matter for me? What is important for me? What is worth spending time on? Whether it's some certain people, whether it's some activities that I'm interested in, whether these are some ideas I'm really looking forward into them, and so on. And of course, I I'm not gonna always be so cheerful and happy because now I can do that. I can do that much more easily, right? It's just that now I think with the right amount of thinking, basically I can have a sense of proportionality, and basically that means what it what is worth to be taken, what is worth to take it seriously and give it as much importance and attention as it must, as you want, and what is not worth giving a damn, just don't do it at all, or even make a joke about it and forget it. And so, from a person that I used to be extremely serious and basically thinking that life eventually will end and find what's important, I can basically say that now I have turned the tables around and I am much less serious to the things that I used to be extremely serious. For example, I'm much more loose and relaxed when meeting new people because now I don't really care for the most part. What do I mean when I do not care? I have my own friends, and basically I have relationships that I don't think they're ever gonna break. One, well, because I'm very good at maintaining them, right? And we're honest with each other and so on. That's one. And second, it's just that I don't really bother if someone doesn't like me because I didn't make a very good first impression. It's just that if by myself I just make a joke that I thought would be funny and make sure essentially that I made the attempt to make a joke not about themselves but about something that they may as well themselves also find it funny, is that basically I make a small celebration that we met and I met the other person, and if that person basically ate somewhere there 7 to 8 out of 10 times, they're going to accept the invitation and just make a joke and basically have a better, in a way, understanding. And therefore, if things go better, may as well get to know each other and make friends, make friendships the start of a relationship, and then after, who knows, we may as well become great friends, right? So the thing is that I used to be extremely serious with people because I did not really understand them, and now I not only think I can understand that most people just are sometimes extremely introverted, sometimes they're just not in the mood, but for the most part, if they see a person who is cheerful and who wants to spend some time and be pleasant and make a joke and just relax, and just a person that it's just a new person, right? We may as well never speak again. They may as well have a chance, and they can give me a greater chance of basically talking to me, right? And make a joke and relax. Who knows? Nothing to be taken seriously because it's not that important, sorry. And so relationships with people made me more relaxed and more chill and not taking things so seriously. And then I decided to be more relaxed because in the end, I mentioned earlier, well, life eventually will end. What does that mean for me, at least in the earlier years? That basically, if life is about to end, find out what's important to you and then do those things basically endlessly and never stop because those things, you were born for those things. Essentially, what I'm saying is that that be serious about discovering yourself and what you're interested in, and then ignore everything else because they're not important, right? To you, at least. And so I'm now doing, in a way, the opposite. I'm saying that eventually everything will end, so therefore, nothing to take serious since nothing will last forever, you as well, in the way that you are right now, at least in that form. And so, can you really be serious when nothing is really going on in the sense of, hey, relax. What we think it's permanent, it is also going to end. Unless that is, of course, the land of the sky, right? Only those things are forever. Everything else expires in a way. And so, that also gives me a lot of vibes, a lot of ease to just say, you know what, I don't really care. I don't really care if things are going crazy right now in the world because it's just that time of the humanity that we have today. And the thing is that I really believe that it's not really worth being that serious anymore. Because when we are trying to be so serious, everything is so damn heavy and we almost do not move at all. And there's no fluidity, there's not lightness. There's a saying that I think I heard it from Alan Watts, of course. Watts, my personal favorite philosopher, basically saying that angels fly because they don't themselves too seriously. Oh no! I'm saying I totally said it wrong. He said something like angels fly because they take themselves too lightly. That was the entire phrase. I'm sorry. That was the thing. And so there is a huge maturity in a way, being able to be relaxed and being capable of making a joke, and even at the so-called most serious moments. Because in the end, who really cares? I mean, yeah, life is not worth being taken so seriously after all. You can have all the philosophies, all the education in the world, having the worst, most difficult moments, and let's say that a person who has the worst life possible, the toughest conditions, a lot of fights, a lot of wounds, either in the soul or in their own body, or having a part of their body that basically doesn't work, or they're financially ruined in a way to the point that they cannot recover. And so, those people, if they found basically, I would say, the courage or even the strength of character to make a joke either about their conditions or about their existence or their life, there's basically a huge respect when people are able to laugh at themselves, right? And don't really care. Or maybe make the thing that they care about not being so heavy and powerful upon them. And so, I'd say this as a guy who's been extremely serious. Basically, being the wisest person suggests that you can be the most childlike person in the room. And so, while you can be the person who says and thinks the wisest in a group or a company or a group of friends, in a way, if you can also make that group of people, regardless of their own level of knowledge or wisdom or maturity, in a way, if you can make all those people basically laugh with their lives, there's a huge amount of wisdom, satisfaction, and essentially reward when you can do both in a way. But at the same, I'd say this, that when I used to be basically 90% of my thinking time or doing whatever I wanted, 90% serious, and that was 10% when making jokes basically when I was playing games and it was the kids' time in a way to do whatever the hell they wanted. It's just that now I almost shifted it completely, and there are a lot more fewer times where I'm basically serious, and especially when sometimes in my job or I speak to other people, is that I tend to be more typical and more careful in a way, but at the same time not so much. And I think that life is more worth it when you're just more relaxed and more less serious. Because otherwise, what's the damn point? You came here to be what? To be just working and be nothing but serious? I don't really think so. It's not damn worth it. So why bother? And that is another sense of that is another point is as to why it's important for us not to be so damn serious. So anyway, I may as well dragging this video along longer than I thought. This is gonna be, these are my thoughts for today. You may as well tell me what you want or what you think in the comments, or what you think about this idea, and I may as well talk to you in another video like this. Okay? Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, and thank you for your time.